Now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akugha. It's a season of politics in Nigeria, with the 2019 general elections just around the corner. And so on this edition of the program, we will take you to various parts of the country where high-level politicking is already underway ahead of the upcoming polls. We begin with a focus on the trial of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Honorable Justice Walter Onnoghen, which is still generating more reactions from Nigerians, particularly those from the South-South geopolitical zone where Justice Onnoghen hails from. Next on our lineup is a special report on the legislative agenda of Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan, immediate past governor of Delta State, who is currently running for the seat of Delta South Senatorial District under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC. And moving on, we'll bring you details of our recent meeting of a coalition of supporters of President Muhammadu Buhari in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. And finally, on Inside the Niger Delta for today, we'll give you an account of how the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is strategizing to remain in control of Bayelsa State as Chief Timi Alaibe hosts a caucus meeting of the party in Kolokuma, Opokuma local government area of the state. Inside the Niger Delta, we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta, NCTA associates Port Harcourt River State, in collaboration with Shekinah Institute, Santin Johannesburg, South Africa, presents the 10th edition of its annual International Strategic Management and Leadership Retreat, themed Strategies for Building Personal and Organizational Capabilities for Superior All-Time Performance. Date, Wednesday 20th to Tuesday 26th March 2019. Venue, Silver Oak Luxury Apartments, 120, 6th Road, Hyde Park, Saunton. Workshop fee 950,000 naira to cover workshop participation, resource materials, certificate of participation, accommodation for 5 nights, breakfast inclusive, guided bus tour of Johannesburg and Soweto, visit the Sun City Resort and visa processing. For inquiries about participation, call Chris on 080-332-80242 or call Princess on 080-205-40134. Explore the world. Call now as entry closes by Monday, February 18th, 2019.
Glad to know you're still there. In case you're just joining us, it's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. Recently, the legal community and indeed the rest of the country have been inundated with arguments on the propriety or otherwise of the arraignment in the Code of Conduct Tribunal of Justice Walter Onnoghen, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, over his alleged non-declaration of asset and ownership of domiciliary bank accounts. The following report captures reactions to controversial arraignment of the nation's top jurists.
The suspension and removal of Justice Walter Onnoghen as Chief Justice of Nigeria over alleged fraudulent declaration of assets continues to generate reactions from across the country and the international community. At the weekend, the United States Embassy had in a statement condemned the sack of Nigeria's #1 jurist without recourse to the National Assembly. A swift reaction had also come from the Pan-Niger Delta Leaders Forum, which demanded an immediate reinstatement of Justice Onnoghen, noting that the executive arm of government acted in violation of the Nigerian Constitution.
They want to destroy the judiciary and the legal profession. That this country belongs to all of us. We will all stay here to fight our battle legally.
For his part, the outspoken governor of Bayelsa State and chairman of the South-South Governors Forum, Henry Seriake Dixon, had observed that Justice Onnoghen's perceived persecution was in furtherance of the federal government's calculated plot to undermine the South-South geopolitical zone of the country.
Of recent, we had the case of the unceremonious removal or retirement of the man who acted as the Director General of the Department of State Services from the great state of Bayelsa, by the way, Mr. Matthew Seyefa, and his replacement, And all of this is still very fresh in our minds. We note that this unfortunate action against His Lordship, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, further reinforces the perception that the Buhari administration has no regard for the sentiments of Nigerians, and in particular, the sentiments and wishes and expectations of the peoples of the Niger Delta and the rule of law.
The federal government has since responded to the scathing criticisms trailing Justice Onnoghen's sack, insisting that it acted within the confines of the law.
In the midst of all these distracting events, the essential question of whether the accused Chief Justice actually has a case to answer has been lost in the squabble over the form and nature of his trial. This should not be so. Nigeria is a constitutional democracy, and no one must be or be seen to be above the law. Unfortunately, the drama around the trial of the Chief Justice of Nigeria has challenged that pillar of justice in the perception of the ordinary man on the street.
In the Niger Delta, not a few observers of Justice Onnoghen's case are worried that his sack came after an appeal court had directed the Code of Conduct Tribunal to suspend his trial. They are of the view that the replacement of Justice Onnoghen with Justice Tanko Ibrahim on the eve of national and state elections leaves much to be desired.
You can't blame anybody who holds any impression. The timing of this development definitely leaves a political coloration in the mouth. If you want to remove the CJN, the procedure is different. The president will have to procure the support of 2/3 majority of members of Senate before the CJN can be removed from office.
Why did they have to wait to 2 months to the elections before bringing these allegations? The concord speed with which the prosecutors haragouined and brought these charges within hours. Even in the United States of America, I'm not sure that you will see that kind of light of speed in their judicial process.
Barely 24 hours after he was appointed acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Ibrahim had sworn in 250 election tribunal members, leaving no one in doubt that he was prepared to hit the ground running ahead of the upcoming polls in the country.
Inside the Niger Delta.
And now to Delta State. It is no longer news that former governor of Delta State, Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan, is vying for the seat of the Delta South Senatorial District under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Unlike many senatorial hopefuls across the country, Dr. Uduaghan's driving force is regional based, and it is likely that many of his will be constituents have no idea of the situation. Our next report takes a look at Dr. Uduaghan's legislative agenda for Delta South Senatorial District and indeed the entire Niger Delta. Our State House of Assembly and the Nigerian Senate are both legislative houses, but that is probably where the similarities end. While a State House of Assembly makes laws for a state, the Nigerian Senate makes laws for the entire country. Therefore, anyone seeking elective office into the Nigerian Senate must have an agenda that is at least regional or national. One politician who understands this very well is one-time Commissioner and Secretary to the Delta State government and immediate past Governor of Delta State, Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan, who could easily pass for a veteran in governance. While presiding over the affairs of the oil-rich and politically volatile Delta State, the Shekiri-born politician became privy to the developmental needs of his people and devised a strategy of engagement for conflict resolution. For Dr. Uduaghan, the problems of the people of Delta South Senatorial District are synonymous with the problems of the peoples of the entire Niger Delta region. Gas flaring and its attendant environmental hazards in Isoko Delta State is the same thing in Eket, Akwa Ibom State. Dr. Uduaghan intends to deploy his deep knowledge of Niger Delta politics and environment to represent the people of Delta South Senatorial District and indeed the Niger Delta at the upper chamber of the National Assembly.
As I go to the Senate, I'll give them adequate representation. I will not just go there to be a sitting past governor. I'll go there to ensure that I push their case. Before I go to present anything in the Senate, we must sit down and discuss it as a senatorial district. And there must be, I also promised that I'll sign like a citizens engagement at least twice a year. We'll have a senatorial briefing and discussion. It might take 3 days to do. If we adequately, this is what has happened in the Senate in the last 6 months. These are the things that are likely to happen in the future. Then the communities will now bring their cases. Let's see how we can articulate it. If we need to pass new laws, then we articulate it there, and I go and present it to them. But I'm going to give them every 6 monthly interaction, minimum, 6 monthly interaction, so that they know what is happening in the Senate, and I also know what is happening in the senatorial district. I promise them adequate representation.
Unlike some aspiring lawmakers without adequate knowledge of the needs of those they intend to represent in Parliament, Dr. Uduaghan promises to be part of a lawmaking process to stabilize the Niger Delta.
The security architecture that is currently in that area, and currently the whole of Nigeria, is too federal government dependent. It's the federal government that has police, it's the federal government that has army, federal government that has navy. So what they do, when there's crisis in Niger Delta, they just pack all of them together, navy, police and all that, and call them joint task force. You go to the Niger Delta and take over Niger Delta as joint task force. But I tell you that when they get to the Niger Delta, they only succeed through the support and cooperation of the communities, especially the youth. Okay. So in moving forward, there must be a security architecture that involves the communities and involves the youth.
Dr. Uduaghan says it's for the legalization of local refineries, 5% ownership of companies by host communities, and security of assets by youths and host communities.
One of the things I want to try and push is for local participation in the activities of companies that come to your area. Shell has been in Nigeria for since 1950-something, over 50 years. Now, if at the time Shell came, there was 5% ownership of Shell by the local communities, in those number of years, 5% would have been a lot. There will be a structure of putting of handling the money. That should not be an issue, because people argue, who will give 5%? I think there will be a structure, and 5% was given to communities since that time, and that 5% was properly utilized because of a law that directs on the utilization of the fund. We will not be talking about all this Niger Delta crisis today.
In championing the cause of the Niger Delta, the former governor of Delta State envisages a legislation that will compel the federal government to partner with international agencies to have an environmental impact assessment of crude oil and gas production with a view to cleaning up the entire region. Dr. Uduaghan also plans to bring about a law on compulsory technological modification of pipelines to make them less prone to vandalism in the interest of the Niger Delta region.
The challenge we have is that air, soil, water, they are totally polluted. You have this pollution that has affected our waters and that reduces our fishing ability. Then you have even the soil where we used to farm is seriously polluted. Of course, the air is polluted. So when we talk of massive agriculture now, it's a lot more difficult than before. So the first challenge is to regenerate our soil, to clean our water. If you take, with all the pollution that has gone on, it will take over 50 years to do it. And I think federal government is starting with Ogoni, trying to do environmental repair in Ogoni. So it's a big challenge in the Niger Delta. And emphasis must be placed on that if we are going back to agriculture, whether in the soil or in the river.
Politics is for Dr. Uduaghan essentially about regional interest. He says his membership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, is the outcome of a strategic plan to pursue the interest of the Niger Delta at the center.
As you know, I manage a lot of crises in Niger Delta. Sometimes I went to the creeks, I engaged the boys, and my principle, when I was managing the current APC government, the crisis they met, they succeeded in managing it through engagement. The president was seeing a lot of leaders from Niger Delta. The vice president went from state to state of oil-producing states, making a lot of engagement, and agreements were reached. Nobody at that level has gone from state to state before in Nigeria. It was the first time. And of course, if that is happening, the crisis is not over. They need to be supported by those of us from Niger Delta who are passionate about Niger Delta, so that in moving forward, we can have solutions to the crisis of the Niger Delta. Politics is about regional interest, and I'm interested in the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta.
And now we go to River State. The support base of President Muhammadu Buhari received a major boost recently in the Niger Delta, following the inauguration in Port Harcourt of the Executive Council members of a pro-Buhari group, the United Niger Delta for Buhari UNDB. The UNDB, a coalition of youths, grassroots politicians and professionals, vowed to work towards the re-election of President Buhari for what it describes as his focused leadership.
Hi! Pleased to serve the UNDP in the interest of Niger Delta.
Like to serve UNDP in the interest of Niger Delta.
And to contribute faithfully to the re-election of Buhari come February 2019.
To the re-election of Buhari come February 2019.
So help me God.
Personal assistant to the president on social events, Honorable Faith Pukuma, represented by National Woman Leader of the UNDB, Tenuma Alero, inaugurating the Executive Council of the UNDB led by High Chief Anabs Saraigbe.
Our message to Niger Delta people is that President Muhammadu Buhari is a man of integrity, and all Nigerians will know that, and that we should re-elect Mr. President, because President Muhammadu Buhari has brought a lot of development to Niger Delta.
The UNDB has the mandate to ensure the electoral victory of President Muhammadu Buhari. To this end, it is collaborating with the National Council of Nigerian Youths to drum up support for President Buhari to take Nigeria to the next level.
In my state, we have about 2.1 million registered voters. We are assuring Baba that at least 80% of the accredited voters that vote in that state will go to him.
Delta, for those of you who were able to come to Stadium of Warri, the President Muhammadu Buhari did not hide his feeling. He said, I am highly intimidated by the crowd I saw in Delta State. And by special grace of God, we are going to translate that crowd to the voting strength.
Members of the UNDB are of the opinion that the Niger Delta cannot afford to remain in the opposition. Their mission is to keep the region in the mainstream of national politics.
The sole aim is to integrate the Niger Delta into the center when Buhari wins, and also ensure that Buhari wins convincingly in the Niger Delta. We are expecting a minimum of 500,000 votes each state for Buhari in the Niger Delta.
The youths of the Niger Delta, after careful assessment, have come to the conclusion that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria deserves a second tenure.
Buhari is going to win clearly in the Niger Delta. We don't want to be in opposition. We want to belong to national grid, and this is what will happen by the grace of God.
The group says President Buhari's popularity in the Niger Delta is on account of his integrity, noting that it will take a leader with character to transform the region and improve the lots of its people.
The president, there is no dent in him. His integrity has been announced by everywhere in this country and the whole world. So we don't want to go and vote for any other party one, also any other candidate that have a lot of questions to answer.
Present at the inauguration of the EXCO members of the UNDB were delegates from all 9 states of the Niger Delta region.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Following President Muhammadu Buhari's recent appointment of a new board for the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), are high expectations of efficient service delivery to the largely underdeveloped Niger Delta communities. The new chief executive of the NDDC, Professor Nelson Brambaefa, a pharmacologist with an academic background, was until his recent appointment the representative of Bayelsa State on the dissolved board of the NDDC. Samuel Ajogbe, a construction engineer by training, retains his position as Executive Director Projects in the recent appointment. He is expected to bring his experience to bear in the development of the Niger Delta. Also appointed is Mr. Chris Amadi, a highly motivated finance and development professional with many years' experience in the banking industry. A fellow of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria, Mr. Amadi is a participant at the Harvard Business School's High Potentials Leadership Program. Before the recent appointment, several youth groups had clamored for the dissolution of the previous board led by Mr. Nsema Ekere, who is currently in the governorship race of Akwa Ibom State. The 3 beneficiaries of the top appointments at the NDDC will be involved in the management of the Commission's affairs in different capacities. The expectation, however, is that they work as a team to deliver on the mandate of the NDDC, which is to bring about sustained peace and development in the Niger Delta region.
Inside the Niger Delta, NCTA associates Port Harcourt River State, in collaboration with Shekinah Institute, Santin Johannesburg, South Africa, presents the 10th edition of its annual International Strategic Management and Leadership Retreat, themed Strategies for Building Personal and Organizational Capabilities for Superior All-Time Performance. Date, Wednesday 20th to Tuesday 26th March 2019. Venue, Silver Oak Luxury Apartments, 120, 6th Road, Hyde Park, Saunton. Workshop fee 950,000 naira to cover workshop participation, resource materials, certificate of participation, accommodation for 5 nights, breakfast inclusive, guided bus tour of Johannesburg and Soweto, visit the Sun City Resort and visa processing. For inquiries about participation, call Chris on 080-332-80242 or call Princess on 080-205-40134. Explore the world. Call now as entry closes by Monday, February 18th, 2019.
And now we take you to Kolokuma Upokuma local government area in Bayelsa State, where PDP chieftain Timi Alaibe hosted a caucus meeting in his country home to strategize on how to achieve a clean sweep of all elective offices in the local government and indeed the entire state. According to the former NDDC boss, strategic campaigns will commence immediately to ensure that the opposition party will have no inroads into the glory of all lands, Bayelsa State. Alaibe called on all Bayelsans to heed the call of the Bayelsa State Governor and champion of restructuring, Henry Siriake Dixon, to vote en masse for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
All stakeholders who have come from all the communities and wards and units of Kolokuma Upokuma are united under the umbrella, under one vision. And that vision is to ensure that the sustainable development of Kolokuma Upokuma is maintained. And we are establishing that vision in this election by voting for all PDP candidates. Kolokuma Upokuma local government is united in the support of our presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. We are all articulated.
Other members of the caucus who were in the meeting also pledged their support towards the victory of PDP in Bayelsa State.
Caucus is going out on an aggressive grassroots mobilization. No part of the LGA will be left untouched. And that is to demonstrate that we are united and that this LGA will vote en bloc for these candidates of PDP.
Earlier, Chief Timi Alaibe had been formally received into his electoral ward, that is Ward 7, in Kolokuma Upokuma local government area of Bayelsa State.
We lost him But when you have lost your son, you give all thanks to God. But luckily, God has brought him back to us. So we are the happiest of people that we have a man of his caliber and timber in the political party.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's how much we can take on this edition of the program. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back same time next week on this station. You can also stay connected by following us on our social media platforms showing on your screen right now. On behalf of the production crew, many thanks for staying tuned. I am Mamode Akugha signing off on the program. Bye for now.